All right, everybody, welcome out to this special sports podcast of The Lager Room. This is a special Mets Corner podcast. Coming at you is Jersey Johnny, and with me, as always, is Mr. RadioPete. And we're here to talk about the Trevor Bauer Agita that we all experienced from last night through today. Thanks to Bob Nightingale last night and getting everybody's hopes up, and that got shot to shit. So here we are today, and Trevor Bauer is the brand new owner of the richest 1 year or 2 year contract, however you want to look at it in baseball history. Thanks to him using the Mets to get the Dodgers to give him that money. What amounts to be $85 million for 2 years. Yeah, he's got a $17 million third year if he wants it, but something tells me since he has an opt-out in year 1 and year 2, he's not going to use that $17 million option for year 3. Just saying, unless something drastic happens to him where he kind of doesn't have a choice. But yeah, thanks, Trevor. What's your take on that, Mr. P?
I believe I said it a couple days ago to requote once again the great Don Ohlmeyer. The answer to all your questions is money.
Yeah.
Now, look, I don't know whether he was playing the Mets or using the Mets to get to the Dodgers. Maybe he would have been happy on either team. Who knows? But I guess the Dodgers know you can't ever have enough pitching.
This is true. Well, you know what? And now they have 7 starting pitchers, and even their 5th and their 6th starting pitcher is a legitimate, a number 2 starter on other teams. So
yeah, so they're preparing, obviously to make another run at a championship, and look, he's got the opt-outs, which, he may go there and win a championship and then decide he wants to go somewhere else. I doubt that would happen because they're going to pay him 40 and then 45.
Right.
But, look, he's basically signing 2 1-year deals worth $40+ million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
and then if he wants to play for $17 million, if things go south over the next 2 years,
he could stay there and collect $17 million.
Play, get $17 million. And
it's an insurance policy for the 3rd year, right? So yeah. That's all it is. If he pitches lights out, and believe me, as Mets fans, we all hope he doesn't. But if he does, he's gone after 2 years, or he's renegotiating. He's not.
Right. I mean, it's really a brilliant contract, right? We were talking about 3 or 4 years, or maybe he wanted 5, and how much were the Mets willing to pay? Was it 100 over? Or what we were talking about, 140 over 4 or something.
Yeah, something like that. But the deal the Mets gave him was like only $2 million less, but it was less money in the second year. It was it was $40 million for the first year, and then it was 30 something for the second year and 20 something for the third year. So he opted for, and they were giving him an opt out after 1 year. So now he's got the opt out after 2 years as well, and a bigger amount in the second year. So and you know what? I mean, seriously. We should have saw this coming, right? Because he's from California. He went to UCLA. Where would you rather spend your off season? In 3 feet of snow in Queens? Not that he's going to stay in Queens, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or in or out on the the left coast.
Well, right. Do you want to Do you want to stay home? Do you want to be with a perennial winner, basically in some fashion? Right, whether it's just a division winner or whether it's a pennant winner or, as of last year, a World Series winner, certainly one of the favorites to go. Or do you want to come to the Mets, who have a new owner and look like they're making some good moves, but, couldn't bring in George Springer. And still more questions about the Mets than about the Dodgers, I'd say. Yeah. Everything looks great on paper, but you don't know how it's going to. And look, still question about what's going to go on in the outfield. And we don't have, the Mets don't have 2 aces.
Right.
we got 1 ace and then a handful of pretty darn good pitchers.
Right.
But, so a more stable, more potentially winning situation out on the left coast where all the sunshine is.
Exactly. So,
just wait till August.
Yeah, exactly.
138 degrees.
Have fun out there
on the field,
the ball is like smoking as you catch it. It's like,
the thing I guess that bothers me.
Well, you said that though because he did pitch in Arizona for a while. So
yeah, that's true. That's even worse. But that's a dry heat.
That's true.
So
that's dry heat. So he's good there.
Yeah. Here's the thing that look, he's gonna go for his money, and we have no reason to begrudge him that. If somebody's willing to pay him, fine. The video wearing the Mets hat and all that kind of irks me a little bit.
Yeah, no,
because he made it seem
he didn't make that today. That was made in December, and he just made his choice in the last scene he's filmed today.
But I'm saying there was
hopefully he filmed it today. Although knowing him, he could have filmed it 2 weeks ago, knew when he was going to go to the Dodgers with whatever.
And maybe it was us and the New York media that were reading more into it, but it seemed like he was really interested in coming here. And this is where he was going to come if we made if the Mets made at least as good or close to as good an offer as anybody else.
Right.
Doesn't seem like that really was the case now.
No, it doesn't. Why don't we have a guest to bring on with us right now.
A first for the podcast.
A first for the podcast. He's known around the Mets circles as Patchman Phil. Let's bring him in right now. Here he is, Mr. Patchman Phil. How are you, sir?
How are we doing, guys?
Pretty good. Yourself?
How are we feeling about the non-signing?
Hold on, I just lost my audio.
We're hearing you, so can you well, we'll keep talking until you actually hear us. How's that? He can't hear us, so it doesn't matter. There you go.
Well, you can see our lips moving. So
there you go. Well, as he works on that. Have you heard it yet? Oh, okay. So
I just lost my audio for a second. I was working the test. Hold on. You might have to...
All right.
Well, while he works on that, I'll say this. Here we go. Hold on. Let me just keep talking a second while I text.
Oh, okay. He's gonna. So we're having a few technical difficulties, folks.
There you go. Just a couple.
We could say the Mets had some technical.
Crazy guys. It's like Trevor Bauer. You think he's coming to the Mets, and who knows? Crazy about it. I know they reached out. I don't know why. You guys should have to hear me though, correct?
Yeah, it's a little hazy. Can you hear me? Can you hear us now? I just sent you I just messaged you what to do. I'm
gonna try to log back in.
Yes, go. Yeah, do that.
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah. Go and bash Trevor Bauer for the training.
There you go. All right. You bail out and come back. There we go.
Right.
Okay. So anyway.
It always goes well.
It always goes. Hey, you know what? Why not?
You know what? It gets screwed up in like $10 million studios that the pros use. So there's
exactly
no shame in us having a few.
We're just a little bit less than that. So
exactly.
So you know what? Here's the thing. There's a couple ways to look at this, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it when Phil comes back. But here's a couple ways to look at it. One, the Mets have had really one of the best off seasons in terms of acquisitions and impactful acquisitions and hole-filling acquisitions and bolstering up the bullpen and getting Lindor and everything else. And they haven't had that in quite some time, if not ever, really, this impactful of an offseason. But it's looked at as if it's been a downer because the top three free agents, we didn't get any of them. We didn't get Realmuto, we didn't get Springer, now we didn't get Bauer. And that's the way it's looked at. So it's a failure of an offseason when it really is a very successful offseason, quite frankly.
I think you could say of those three, Realmuto not really missing that too much.
No, we're not going to,
because that would have been a lot of money, and
it would have been a lot of money. It would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit of an older guy, and I think we got a good deal and a good catch with McCann.
Absolutely.
So we're fine with that.
Totally agree with that.
You can say, the Mets had a great offseason. In terms of the Mets, it's fantastic. But if the goal was to really turn yourselves into a top-notch contender, Lindor, good. McCann, good. Those are really the two big names. Not getting Springer, okay, maybe not that good. Not getting Bauer, okay, maybe not that good.
Right.
So I don't look at it as a failure, but if the goal was we want to get at least two or three of those guys, which I felt the goal was,
right, 2
or 3, probably 2.
2 of those guys would have been the goal. When it was, all 3 weren't happening, but 2 of them would have been the goal.
Yeah, we didn't quite get there,
right.
But I don't think that means that suddenly the Mets are, going to be battling for fourth place.
No,
assuming all things, remain level or whatnot.
Look, I mean, it's not like whoever's going to pitch in place of Trevor Bauer now, if he were on the rotation, it's not like he was going to whoever is going to pitch in his place. It's not like he's going to lose every game and Bauer was going to win every game, right? So
right.
I mean, even if there is a difference by say even 4 or 5 games, okay. You know what? I mean, with their lineup and everything else, and what the rest of the rotation is going to be able to do, I still think it shoots us up enough. I mean, and that's giving Trevor Bauer the benefit of the doubt that last year wasn't an aberration. Because, I mean, to be completely honest with you, when we come right down to it and think about this, that man just made $85 million for 2 years based on 11 games.
Right.
When you think about it,
Well, yeah, they were comparing. Let me see where
Phil's back. I'll bring him back in here.
Okay.
There he is.
I'm good now. You guys can hear? You guys can hear me?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Okay, awesome. Okay, good. So what are you guys talking about? The big three the big three guys that
we were talking about whether the offseason, well, a lot of people are kind of looking at it as a failure, but it really shouldn't be looked at as a failure. I mean, we didn't get 2 out of those big 3 names, but we got one of them, and we got a really great deal in McCann. But not getting Springer, not getting Bauer, there are a lot of people going, "Oh, the Mets are the failure." But my point, I'm saying that they're still going to be vying, I think, for the division title with what they have, and they're not done yet. So I don't look at it as a failure.
So the way it's hard to reprogram our brains, right? So for years we had that abuse of the Wilpons, and they basically mentally trained us to be like, that car or that toy is too nice for us. We have to shop at the bargain bin. And now, obviously, with Steve Cohen, we have this feeling where, okay, now we can go after anybody. Mm-hmm. And so it's frustrating that, I just feel this whole off season, it's a theme where you take 1 step forward and then 2 steps back. And what I mean by that is Bauer or Springer. I personally wanted Springer because I feel that the Mets basically have 2 outfielders and then a bunch of infielders who are good playing outfield. So I feel like that Springer would have been the guy who, even if he played corner outfield later on in his career, he still would have been a win now type player.
Sure.
And being an everyday player, he would have more impact.
Right. Exactly.
I think John and I could kind of agree with that.
No, absolutely. Back in when this first started, when the offseason first started, and we talked about all of this on the regular podcast, and we wrote a couple of blogs about it. Of those top 3, I was saying from day one, I didn't want Realmuto. I didn't want his contract. I want McCann. McCann was, for the last couple of years, has not been that much less of a pitcher, honestly, than JT Realmuto has been over the last couple of years. Yes, of course, Realmuto is better, and he's a little younger, negligibly, not even a year younger than James McCann. And also the fact that we have, what's his name, coming up from
Oh yes, yeah. One of the top prospects.
Yeah.
Something with the Maurice, something like that. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So and he's 3 years away, or so, and so McCann's contract is perfect. He'll fill the void. He's a marked improvement defensively that we've had in a very long time behind the plate.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And his bat's pretty damn good.
But let me ask you this. So the reality is, though, is even if you didn't want JT or Realmuto, because I get it, that giving a long-term deal, big contract to catchers is, like a running back in football, the knees give out a little bit. So I get that. And McCann is the upside. You want him to develop and be, that star. But losing out on Bauer and Springer, it kind of, as a Mets fan, we didn't get any of the big guys. So
exactly.
It's frustrating. We were told that, all right, we can spend money. And so Lindor is nice. It's awesome. He's in his prime. I totally agree. But getting Lindor so early on and then trying to sell us on oh, hey, don't worry. We'll lock up Lindor. We promise. And we'll probably get Conforto too. And don't worry about it. We got outbid for Springer and Bauer. Don't worry about it. It's very frustrating when if you get one of those guys, I think we can compete for a World Series. And now you said division. I think division-ish wild card. I think the Braves are still better.
Yeah, the Braves have a great team. Don't get me wrong, and I do believe that they're going to be right there. It's going to be difficult for the Mets to win the division, but it's not impossible.
No, my point is that I think they're going to vie for it.
They're going to compete,
and not getting Springer, not getting Bauer doesn't. If you get one of those guys, then obviously you're the I wouldn't say prohibitive favorite, but I think you'd be favored even over the Braves,
right?
If you had George Springer or Trevor Bauer.
You're right there with the Dodgers, 100% with the battle.
But but my point is, without those guys, it's not like they're going to be battling for fourth place in the division or something.
No.
This is still a very good Mets team. And they still have to make a couple of moves, obviously, and we see we're going to see what they do, obviously. But still, we should be expecting good things from this team, even without those guys.
I just say we do pick up like a Jackie Bradley Jr. or Rizzi or something like that. That team is good, but like you said, it's not. I don't think it's better than the Braves. So now you're competing with the Cardinals with Arenado, and they're like I feel like they're better, and Dodgers are definitely better. So then it's like, okay, we better than the up and coming Padres? Okay, close. And then Nationals, they're right there, and it's tough. Like then we're fighting for the wild card spots and to get down dicey, to come down to a couple of games again, and it's very frustrating. Where you and I both know it's going to come down to like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, and it probably will, and it has. I mean, it came down to 3 or 4 games 2 years ago. You know what I mean? With Mickey Callaway, and I don't mean to mention that name.
Oh God, please,
right? Yeah. But
I don't want to throw up. Please.
I don't either. And we didn't even bring him up on the podcast on Wednesday night. So we just left it alone. 3.5-hour podcast. We didn't mention his name.
All right. So now that you did bring it up, I got to ask though. I was talking to my friend about it. Do you think that Mickey Callaway is the worst manager in Mets history, or no? I was wondering.
The worst manager in Mets history? No. Honestly, I think the worst manager in Mets history was one of the best managers in Yankee history.
You talking about Casey?
No.
Yogi.
No, Joe Torre.
Oh yeah.
No.
But he was like a player. He was like a player.
No, he was a manager. He was player manager, and then he was the manager for a few years.
Yeah.
He was the press called him Clueless Joe. That was his nickname in the papers, Clueless Joe.
Yeah. A little before I do know he was a player manager type.
He was a player manager for a year. He came from the Cardinals and he went to the Mets, and he was player manager for a year and change, and then he just became the manager. He was the manager for 2 or 3 years, maybe even 3.5 years. But yeah, he was horrible.
Yeah.
I would probably call Callaway like the laziest.
Callaway's probably
I think you could toss a coin between him and Torre for worse, but I don't know.
I equate Callaway to, somebody he was happy to get the job, and we're gonna have fun. And we're gonna make everybody smile and have a good time and play some baseball. That's the type of manager he was. To me anyway. That's what I always got out of him. He was he wasn't a hard nose. He wasn't. He by far was not Terry Collins. Who could bite anybody's head off and pat you on the back at the same time. This guy was just like, sunshine and roses. That's all it was about. Even in the face of what he was doing.
As far as I'm concerned, the only time we should mention the name Callaway is if we're talking about golf.
Golf, absolutely. No. Yeah. In fact,
there's no reason to
Disney World too. Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
There you go.
We can throw that in there.
I had one more thing to ask you guys too, because I appreciate you guys having me on, and I always do like talking to other Mets fans, and like at the games, it's awesome. I do love picking people's brains.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think about like Sandy Alderson, and like, do you think he was the right guy for the job? Like, and I'll tell you what I believe, but how do you think how he's doing now, and do you think he was the right guy for Mr. Cohen, Uncle Stevie, to rehire?
I think it was probably a smart choice on him, only because Sandy Alderson knows New York. He knew the team. He knows what's right in Major League Baseball. Is he the best thing since sliced bread? No. But for Steve Cohen, who really, he was a minority owner and really didn't know baseball other than being a fan. His baseball knowledge, his baseball acumen. I really don't know it. Obviously, I couldn't say this for certain, but I wouldn't be surprised that our baseball acumen is about equal to his. He just has the money to buy the Mets.
Well, he might have like half a dozen guys though crunching the numbers and telling him.
No. Of
which,
course.
On that
level, I just mean on that level. Yeah.
Staff. There's no staff here telling me.
Well, you have those guys in the kitchen that you use from time to time.
Yeah.
But no, I just mean for as far as baseball knowledge.
Right.
Baseball knowledge.
Right. Well, and he admitted that.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't want to come in and run the team. He's
of course not. Right.
Hire
so
people
somebody
to do that,
like Sandy Alderson for a short term. Sandy Alderson's not going to be there for 20 years. For a short term to get the Mets in order and get the right people. Unfortunately, the first choice was wrong, but get the right people in order.
Yeah.
I think it was an okay move. I think it was It was one of the decent moves he could have made. I don't think there necessarily was one that comes to mind right off the bat that would have been a better choice. I could think of a few that would have been worse choices, but that's my take on it anyway. But what was yours?
I think that what you just said about getting things in order with all the turmoil, it's obviously some of it recent, but with managers and everything going on, I think Alderson was more of a continuity move than anything else. Let's have at least one thing be stable,
yeah,
and then we'll go from there. And I don't know how long
he was only gone. He was only gone for 2 years, right? So I mean.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was that far removed from the organization. So
right, exactly. So at least something that we know, and then we can work from there. But I have a feeling he won't be around that long. But we'll see. He might just do a wonderful, amazing job, and they win, and then we're all happy. But
I think he was Epstein comes in a year and takes his position. It would be nothing.
Yeah, I think Cohen's familiarity with him had as much to do with it as anything else. Belief in Alderson's ability to do the job.
What's your take, Phil?
So for me, I totally agree. Actually, a little bit with you guys. How he knew the organization so well. He had a bail. He had a little pause. With his health, and then he jumped right back in. And it just was so frustrating. Was when they rehired him, it was like, wow, Sandy Alderson knows all these people in baseball. He's so smart. And now he has a big wallet, unlimited spending. So it's like Sandy Alderson with a budget. And so for me, it's like, okay, I can't let this. I was a little skeptical because in my mind, I'm like, this is the same guy who let Justin Turner walk because he didn't like the way he was training in the offseason, right? Right. So this is the same guy who basically looked at Daniel Murphy as a net negative. And you could say that the Wilpons, didn't want to give him the extra money. But reality, the Mets, if you really wanted to, I believe the Mets could have brought him back, Murphy, just like they brought back Cespedes. That's what I believe. And now you're giving this guy another shot at it.
Yeah, which is kind of the flip side of the coin.
There was no reason they couldn't have brought back Murphy.
I think he wanted to come back here.
Of course he did.
Murphy thought he was that good. He would have got more money, okay? He was better, but, Nationals and so on. So to me, when it comes to Sandy, it's like it's frustrating because now I see Bauer not go, and I see Springer, go to the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays. Why couldn't you give him that extra year or front load the contract then? Because Springer wanted to play here, and it's like, is it Moneyball Sandy? Like, listen, like we have to financially juggle things. Like, I think if Sandy goes to Cohen and goes, hey, we have to give him the best year, as you alluded to, Cohen's going to go, I'm going to let the smart guys run the things. Cohen's going to listen to Sandy. Right. So it's Sandy's team right now. And the Jared Porter thing, he was groomed to become the guy. But right now, because of Porter being a terrible creep, now all of a sudden it's back to Sandy's show again.
Right.
And it bothers me a little bit. And everyone's always like so positive on Sandy. And I don't hate him, but like, oh man, I don't love him either, guys.
It's an interesting point because he was working under a completely different financial system with the Wilpons, right? So, maybe we obviously there's a few moves that we didn't like, and there were some moves which were okay. But you're right. Now, that's even if he did a really great job with that, that's no indication that he's going to do a great job when suddenly he has a much bigger budget. So, yeah, we haven't really seen him work under these kind of conditions. So, you could say there's just as much a question mark about him as anybody else, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there could be question marks about everybody, when it comes right down to it. But I still think the whole Springer thing, I think there was two things there. I think, number one, they were a little hesitant to push a little bit extra with money for Springer because they were still playing footsie with Bauer, and they were still worried about what they would have had to give him and how much they would have had to go over the luxury tax.
And they missed
there was a little money there, and also the whole Springer thing broke right after Porter. So I can't help but think that had something to do with Springer thinking that he was going to go up to Toronto. The man lives in Connecticut, grew up in Connecticut, wants to play close to his home, and because of a couple $1 million that probably could have been negotiated, he decides to go to Canada instead. I'm sorry. It had something to do with Porter. It definitely had something to do with Porter.
Well, sure, he lost confidence in the Mets for hiring the guy in the first place.
Right.
He's looking at the organization going, I don't know about going there now. If this is what
that's what's going to happen, right? Exactly.
Right, guys. And if you remember, when they did the press conference, and for the Lindor press conference, and they had like Sandy and Jared, a lot of times the media people were still going to Sandy. And then he would defer him. And there was a question where they asked Sandy, and they go, so hinting at the other free agents available, and they go, so who's the next target? Is it? And they don't want to like Tampa or whatever. So they're kind of like, hey, is it the outfielder? Is it the pitcher? Kind of thing like that. Right, and Sandy made a joke in the press conference saying like, we have our differences, and him and Porter chuckled. And so I got that from, I think Porter probably wanted. It seemed like maybe he wanted Springer more, and
Porter wanted Springer more, and Sandy wanted Bauer more. Sandy was playing footsie with Bauer since November, so that's I agree with that 100%.
Not very good footsie though.
Not obviously
not good enough.
Well, God. You know what?
Maybe should have taken the sock off. I
got to hand it to Ms. Rachel Luba. I mean, she. Oh, wow. I mean, she's. And my daughter's boyfriend actually knows her because he's a pitcher in the Reds organization, and and she's been around a couple. In fact, a couple of the guys he pitched with, she manages as well. And I don't remember what the exact scenario was that he was telling me about, but yeah, he said, "Watch out," because she knows what she's doing. I'm like, well, obviously she does.
High-speed pitcher.
Yeah.
To me, one thing about Bauer too, I'm glad you brought up the agent. Is like this guy, like his social media game, and I'm not even talking about like his. I do feel that part of it is with the Mets trying to change their culture and all this, kind of anti-men towards women vibe that they have been coming up lately. Right. I also feel like Bauer with being the Twitter mob and kind of being that bully mentality towards that reporter. I think that kind of play a part in it, and I just feel like he's a little conceited. Like, you're not that good.
Little?
Yeah. I did a LeBron James style press conference, like a decision. Right. And like, dude, like you want to Cy Young in a 60-game season. What was it, like 12 starts, 13 starts?
11 starts. He had 11 starts.
Yeah, exactly, 11.
He went 5-4 with 2 no decisions. That's it. He got 85. Think about it. And I said this before when you bailed out for a minute and came back. He got $85 million for 2 years based on 9 starts.
All right, I guess I'll loosen up your arm, guys.
Oh my God! Let
me throw this at you. If you look at Odorizzi's numbers and Bauer's numbers, all right, Odorizzi's 62 and 56, 3.92 ERA, 8.6 Ks per 9, 2.78 walks, strikeouts to walks in 192 starts. Bauer 75 and 64, 3.90 ERA, 9.7 K per 9, 2.82 strikeout to walk, and 195 starts. So pretty similar numbers. Obviously, more wins for Bauer, particularly in this past season. But those are fairly similar numbers, and
those are very, very similar numbers.
One great season. Look, it got him $102 million, or at least 85 or whatever. So
I've honestly said this, and
good for him.
And
jerk,
Pete,
I hate that guy now.
And Pete, you can vouch for this. For the last 3+ weeks, we've been talking about it. I think the money would have been better spent. Not giving everybody this Agita for the last 24 hours, and signing Jake Odorizzi, having him in the rotation with the other guys, and having a deep, maybe not the excess number 1s and 2s that LA has, the Dodgers have, but having as deep a starting rotation with extra guys as they have, certainly. And
right.
You build up the bullpen, and then go out and get Jake Odorizzi, sign Jackie Bradley Jr., give him the money, get him in center field, and call it an offseason and be done. You just basically, if you get those 2 guys in, you probably save money over bringing Bauer in. And then the only other things you got to do is you got to lock up Conforto and you got to lock up Lindor.
So to me, it's like, I don't know if you guys heard, but like Jackie Bradley Jr. wanted like a 4 or 5 year deal. Right. I don't know if I want to give that many years to Jackie Bradley Jr.
You know what? They give him the right amount of money. They could probably get away with a 3-year deal,
right?
And put an option for a 4th in there. With an opt out on both sides after 3 or something like that.
Yeah. It just the go back to what you said though, like okay, Agita, like I just feel like this whole offseason, some off the field issues, obviously, and then with free agency, and then with the culture change, and it just I can't shake that like Mets feeling yet. Like I Rome wasn't built in one day, and I get it.
Oh,
but it's like dude, a step forward, 2 steps back. I just that's what I feel, guys.
We got decades of that to shake off. Man.
Oh, yeah. It's not getting shaken off in 3 months.
No, it's just
Listen, you guys may be a little older than me. Listen, I was there at Game 7, okay, at 06, walking out of Shea, okay. I still get nightmares, so I listen. I've seen enough of my Mets frustration, so trust me.
Yeah, no, we all feel the same. The only thing I'll say this about Jackie Bradley Jr. Give him the extra year. I understand the concerns and I share them, but you're not signing him for the 4th or 5th year. You're signing him for the next couple of years.
You're signing him.
If you think he's going to help you win, then give him the extra money and then deal with it later on.
I agree now you have to, but the problem is that you should have just gave Springer that extra year.
I agree.
Absolutely.
But we got to move forward.
You got to go forward. You can't say we could have, would have, should have. Don't let this fall. By the way, I think they should have signed Kiki Hernandez. I think that would have been the move, honestly, because then you could throw him in center field. And he could have moved around too. He could have played some infield positions if he needed to. But in any event.
Or Brad Hand, I know he's another guy too.
Yeah,
frustrating they didn't get.
Yeah, absolutely. But give him the extra year because, like Pete just said, and we've been talking about it for a while. The bottom line is, if you're signing somebody for a 5-year deal instead of 3 or 4 because he wants that extra year or 2, you're signing him for the 3 years, and you're giving him the money for the 4th and the 5th in those 3 years. But you're able to pay him in the 4th and the 5th year.
Yeah, if you're ready to win, if you're ready to win now. Then that's what you're paying him for. That's what you're giving him that extra year so that he's going to be here now and help you win. Yeah. If you still think you're not even close to it, well, then you say no thanks. We really don't feel like giving you that extra year. So.
We got a bunch of top prospects. I know the kid they just signed. I guess it was not last year, obviously the year before. Was it Pete Crow Armstrong?
Yes.
He's highly touted, and he's going to be in center field at some point someday. And in fact, I don't know if exactly. And either that his mother was actually in the movie
Major Big League or
Little Big League. Little Big League.
Yeah.
She was his mother was the mother in Little Big League, which is ironic. But in any event, he's going to be in center field. We got our catcher of the future. Then you got to lock up Lindor. You got to lock up Conforto. At some point, Jackie, if you sign Jackie Bradley Jr., at some point he'll be in left field, right? And you got the squirrel on second base. You got Dom and Pete. At some point, we're gonna have the DH, so they'll rotate it first, and the other one's DH. The only thing we're gonna need at that point, obviously, you're gonna need other arms in the bullpen, but you're gonna need to look for a third baseman. But you know what I mean? JD Davis is being serviceable right now, but who knows what? I mean, I still heard chatter today, even after all of this BS with Trevor Bauer, that Chris Bryant's still out there. I don't know if they're going to want to. I don't know if I would want him, but is he an improvement over JD Davis? Yeah.
Well, Sam didn't even value JD Davis. Clearly, he took him to arbitration. JD Davis was really a Brody guy. Took it to arbitration, and the Mets won the arbitration.
The Mets won the arbitration. Yeah. He wanted. They said he's getting 2.1. He wanted 2.4. I mean, we're talking about what, $300,000. I mean, that's a lot of money to the three of us, not to them.
But I didn't value him that much.
$5 to Steve Cohen, but they won the arbitration. Yeah.
Right. An arbitration hearing is basically like you sit in front of the arbitrator, and it's like, I'm going to tell you why you're worth this money, and the Mets will be like, this is how much you're really worth, and I want to tell you why. And they were willing to have him just basically have the Mets say, no, you're not worth that money. And so how do you think JD feels from that? Right. So it just shows, okay, the Mets don't really value me, because like you said, it really isn't that much money for $1 billion like Steve Cohen Mets.
He's the richest owner in all of pro sports. $300,000 to him is literally like a $5 bill to the three of us. Even less. Is he more than Steve Ballmer, the Clippers guy? I know it's close. I heard it. It's close. He's over. He's between $11 and $12 billion he's worth. So he's the richest owner in all of pro sports.
He's got $300,000 in his back pocket.
He's got $300,000 in his wallet right now.
And the other thing I'll say is, look, obviously, there's going to be moves that are made during the season. If you're good enough and you're hanging around and you need a pitcher, there's going to be teams that are looking to dump pitchers, right?
Right.
So
and maybe the Dodgers are falling out and they want to dump Bauer.
Right. To think we have to have the full team that's going to play the whole season and win it for us right on opening day. Don't have to. To. So always moves to be made. Don't want to have to count on that. It'd be nice if we, but could fill some of those holes. But it happens every year. There are teams that are in contention and they make moves.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It's not the end of the world if we don't have every position filled.
Right. You got to be good enough to get to that point. Where it's worth it to bring in that free agent who's, to make that trade, and with that expiring contract, or a 2-year guy who's got 1 year after that, or whatever it is. You got to be in that position. You got to be good enough to be in that position to make it worthwhile. But those are potential moves to be made.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, and the history of the Mets have shown that if they're in it even at the the All-Star break or in the trade deadline, they will make moves to trade even before the Wilpons. I know the Don Clendenin deal like that, all the way through to the Cespedes and it just they do make those type of trades. So I do believe the Mets will be in it, but the problem is when you do it then.
They made a pretty decent trade in May of 1998.
Piazza you're talking about?
That would be Piazza, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It was not 98. Yeah. I think it was 98 season, and then 99 was the full season.
99 was the full season, yeah. They came in 98, and then they re-signed him in 99 for the 7-year deal, made him the richest player in baseball at that point at $91 $91 million for 7 years. That was the richest contract that year. And went to the NLCS 2 years in a row, World Series, and the rest. But, look, my take is this, and we said it before, and I think we're all in agreement. It's all Wilponitis, right? We have just experienced basically one of the best off seasons to this point that we've ever had, and we're disappointed. Where does it make sense? My thing is this: this off season will prove to be disappointing if two things don't happen. They don't even have to sign. I would like to see them sign Odorizzi and Jackie Bradley Jr. now, or reasonable facsimiles. But and I don't think there really is. I think those are the two top guys at this point right now that are left. But sign those two. But aside from that, this offseason will be disappointing if two things don't happen. If they don't re-sign Conforto and if they don't re-sign Lindor. And that can happen after the season. But that will play a role in how this offseason went. If they re-sign both of them, this offseason was perfect. This offseason was great. And the other thing, too, and we should realize, Steve Cohen came in. He bought the team. We're headed in the right direction. We're going to compete, like he said, now and in the future, and that's wonderful. That's about friggin' time, right? But here's my thing. Are we going to be completely disappointed if we don't win the World Series this year?
Well, no. I mean, my expectations, as I said before, is a wild card team now.
I want to get to the playoffs and win a series. That's all. That's an improvement, and we'll go next year. If we can win the World Series, that's friggin' wonderful. But if we can't, if we can get to the playoffs and win a series, great job. Let's move on. On to the next year. That's fine. I mean, because if we look at it this way, if we don't. If we're all going to be disappointed if we don't win the World Series this year, after 3 months of Steve Cohen owning the team, we became the Yankees, right?
Yeah, nobody should be World Series or bust, at this point in the process.
Yeah, and I don't mean anything derogatory by that to Yankee fans by any means.
No.
It's just that's where they've gotten to because they,
but it's not realistic for this Mets.
No. It's fun to think about, though.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but I'll say this.
That's true.
Johnny, you made a point how, it's a Yankees expectations of World Series or bust. But when Steve Cohen got here and how he said, we want to, win now and be contentious and win in the future, and be competitive in the future. That's what you want as a fan. The Dodger model is they just finally won a World Series, but they were already in 2 other ones and they're competing all the time. Right. The Mets, only 2 times ever have they made the playoffs back to back, and so. That's what we want. We want to be competitive every year. Right. And so, yes, I agree with you that signing Lindor and Conforto long term is an awesome offseason. That's great. But the reality is, we have that in your brains. You never know when you get back. Look how long it was in 2006 and how long it took to get back to the playoffs. So in our mind, it's when you're there, you're so close. If they won a playoff series this year and they lost in the NLCS, it's really frustrating because that was a chance. Like, I don't know if they're going to get back. Also, maybe DeGrom's then is out of his prime, or Pete Alonso has back problems, or who knows? I mean, God forbid these things don't happen, but like, that's why when you get there, you got to win now. So,
well, of course, but only one team out of 30 can win. So, and if he's building and doing the right things every year, year in and year out, day in and day out, we'll be relevant every year. It's drilled into our collective psyches as Mets fans that we're not, how long is the next time before we get back?
Yeah,
we really should at this point, if he holds true to his promise and what we all believe is going to happen, that every year we're going to be relevant. Every year we're going to compete to get to the playoffs. And every year we're going to make the playoffs. And whether we win every year, one playoff series, two playoff series, get to the World Series, at least we're there every year so we can eventually get out of that Wilpon psyche that, okay, well, we got there now. We got to win now or we're never going to get back here for another 9, 10, 12 years. But
there was never a thought that, oh, boy, the Wilpons are going to do what's necessary to keep us relevant every year. It was
just hope that we could make the playoffs. We'll get lucky this year with these moves.
Yeah, maybe we'll get lucky was kind of the mindset when the Wilpons were in charge. So totally different mindset now. But you're right; it's going to take a little while to.
Of course, I mean the
take that off.
Yeah, the dream is to be competitive every year, like you said. But it just hard to until you talk to me and it's like, wow, he set a franchise record making the playoffs 3 years in a row. Until I'm at that point, it's hard for me mentally to think that way because of abuse.
Right.
Yep.
And anybody's going to feel that way too. And Steve Cohen did say he wants to see us win a championship within the next 3 to 5 years. Those words came out of his mouth. He didn't say anything about we're going to win this year. I'm sure he wants to win this year. But he said he wants to do the right things to compete in the future, and he wants to bring a championship to the Queens within the next 3 to 5 years. So, you know what? I mean, everybody that's on the team, obviously the pieces that are there now, most of them you hope are going to be there in 3 years. So what he's trying to do now is build for that win, whether it comes next year or the year after, or who knows? Who the hell knows? Maybe it comes this year. Maybe it doesn't come for 5 years. But we're going to be there every year. We're going to be like the Dodgers have been. We're going to be relevant. We're going to win. We're going to win one wild card series and then lose. We're going to win the league divisional series and get to the championship series and lose. We're going to be in 2 championship series in a row. One of them we get to the World Series. And then 5 years from now, within 5 years, we got to 2 World Series, won one of them. That kind of thing. It builds and builds and builds. It's not going to happen in one offseason. But we have had a really good offseason. And if they do sign Odorizzi and they do sign Jackie Bradley Jr., and they do at some point during the season, whether it's before, during, or after, extend Conforto and extend Lindor, they get absolutely no put downs from me. They did.
You're getting me and Mr. Met right now. It's so hyped that we're going to run through walls right now. So I love it. I love it. And a spin zone I do want to say about not getting Trevor Bauer is that, if Syndergaard does come back healthy from that Tommy John surgery, and, Stroman, if he does have a good contract here, now it opens yourself up to bringing one of them back.
Sure.
Plus Peterson.
Peterson looks good. Peterson looks good. So
I met him at the Mets Fan Fest. Awesome guy. I was talking to him for 5-10 minutes. He was just chilling. It was awesome. And even though he doesn't have that stuff to be he doesn't have that really super hard fastball, ridiculous curveball that you expect these rookies to come out of. Right. He could be that kind of guy who's a gamer and work around the corners and maybe hopefully develop into I'm not saying he's going to be Tom Glavine, but a pitcher of that type. Sure. And that would be awesome to have him develop too. So that's a little spin zone.
We got a decent. There's a decent amount of arms right now. In fact, if we get Jake Odorizzi, pardon me. Sorry about that. If we get Jake Odorizzi, we actually have a surplus. We have too many starting pitchers, and we have shored up the bullpen. So we're would we have been in a better position with Jake Bauer? I say yes, but still it's only a maybe because we're going off of. He was not the year before, 2019 and before. He was a good pitcher, but he wasn't what he was last year. Last year, he got, and I said it before, and I'll say it again, he got $85 million over the course of 2 years based on 11 games. 9 games, really, because 2 of them were no decisions. So,
but if you get 85% of what he was last year, that's still pretty good.
Well, you know what?
I don't know if it's worth. I don't know if it's worth $40 million.
That's the point. That's the point. He's a good pitcher. I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher. He's a very good pitcher.
Good pitcher who had a really great year. Now, whether he turned a corner,
right,
and he's going to be great for a number of years, or whether he's going to return to form and just be a good pitcher again, we don't know. But
is he top 10? What do you guys think? Top 10 pitcher, Trevor Bauer?
Until he's not, I think you have to say yeah.
Right now, yeah. But I mean, we can revisit that in May and then again in July. But I mean, yeah. Right now, yes. Right now,
close though, right? He's on the fringe, right? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not putting him in the top 5. I'll give him in the top 10.
He's in the area like even Strasburg, like those kind of guys are better than him. So he's in the area of like I don't know, like a Mike Clemenger kind of type like that, or like
sure,
Shane Bieber, like
yeah. I mean, right.
I'm putting Bieber over him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's around that area. Like, oh, maybe put him because Bieber had a great year, but sort of it's like he's not your DeGrom. He's not your Kershaw. Right?
Yeah, one, 2, and 3 are DeGrom, Cole, and Scherzer. That's one.
Sure, of course, Mad Max. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, we have yet to see him do it with consistency over time. That's really the difference. So
exactly. 11 games, right? 11 games.
Yeah, and look, it's a $40 million gamble for the Dodgers, and it probably would have been, a $40 million gamble for the Mets. So if it works out, you're a genius. If it doesn't, then oh man, then all the Dodgers fans are going to say, "What did we do this for? The guy had a great year. Well, we never should have done it."
Right.
And then he can opt out, and then he can come to the Mets.
Well, that's why the Mets
for less money. Yeah.
Well, exactly.
For less money, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, come on over. We'll take it, of course. But that's the Dodger thinking, though, right? So the Dodger is almost like what the Yankees did, the Steinbrenner years, where it's like they picked up Manny Machado and like, all right, we did a World Series with you, no problem. Mookie Betts, come on in. And so, as a Mets fan, I thought this offseason was going to be that, right?
Right.
I thought it was going to be like as you alluded to, the Canada team outbid the Mets. What? A local tri-state kid, and so. It's frustrating. It just, I don't know, guys. It just, we're building for something. That's what you got to believe, right?
Right. You got to believe. And I honestly don't think, again, that they got outbid because, I think the money had a little to do with them still wanting to land Bauer, but I think it actually had more to do with the whole Porter thing. As far as Springer goes, it just honestly, it had to have the timing and everything else. Why would he want to do that? But hey, you know what? Kudos to Toronto for landing him. Kudos to the Dodgers for getting Bauer. Now let's go out like we keep saying and get Jake and get Jackie and get Mike and Francisco re-signed and let's play some baseball. I don't.
Listen, I'm going to be hopeful, but I agree with you in many respects, Phil. I'm not going to hold my breath. Yeah. I'm hopeful, but I'm not going to hold my breath until it happens because why would you? We've known too much disappointment already.
Listen, man, exactly. I wasn't born in '86, so I'm still looking for that. still looking for that. The ticket tape parade. Hopefully, COVID will be gone by then, and I can just celebrate with everybody, just seeing the miracle happen again.
Yeah, it was fun. I'll tell you that. So, Pete and I, Pete and I were around, although we were very, 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 very young at the time. Pete and I were around for the first World Series too, but
I don't remember much. I don't remember much about it.
we were probably in close proximity to a TV, or so I've been told anyway from my father. But I can't tell you other than I watched all the games, but many, many years after they played them. But it would be a World Series championship would be very nice. Would be very nice. And more than one every 30 years too would be very nice. Well,
we're due.
We are.
We're overdue.
We're overdue. We're overdue. The Marlins have won every team.
Oh, come on.
Every team in the National League East has won a World Series since the Mets won. So,
I've seen the Tampa Bay Rays in the World Series twice. Come on.
All right, now I'm getting depressed.
I know. Let's not get depressed.
Yeah, I can tell you stories as a kid, and I grew up like the Kansas City Royals were like the worst team. So I wasn't around for the George Brett era. So for me, the Royals were just always a joke team. And the fact that like in my own lifetime, I went to a game, and even the Royals, I don't think I've seen the Royals win over 70 games ever. And all of a sudden, they have a blimp on the radar, and like, oh, here's their 30th anniversary. By the way, they just beat the Mets in the World Series.
Yeah.
You know, we can do this all night, guys. So we'll stay positive, like you said. I'm ready. You get me back pumped up for pitchers and catchers coming up.
Absolutely, pitchers and catchers coming up. Spring training after that.
Exactly.
Let's like I said, let's sign these guys. Let's extend the other guys, and let's play some baseball and make the moves in season, and then make the moves after next season, and get to the playoffs this year and win a series and see where it goes from there. Let's do the right thing and let's keep it going. I don't think anything. I do not think that this has been a bust of an offseason. I don't. I think we are all disappointed because of what we thought could have happened and what should have happened with a couple of them. But you know what? And everybody's been saying it, and it's cold comfort, and it's whatever you want to call it, what it is. But the bottom line is, maybe we dodged a bullet. Okay, that's a lot of money for Trevor Bauer. And the Dodgers, give them all the kudos that they're due. The Dodgers are in a better position to repeat as World Series champions than the Mets are to even get to a World Series. So he has a better shot of winning there, and they have a better shot of getting value for their money. Yeah, I mean, we could have had the best rotation or one of the best rotations in baseball. But I think, it's probably more likely that we dodged a bullet, because how much better would we have been with him than we are going to be without him? And it's going to be measured in a matter of a couple of games. And like you said, Phil, I mean, that it could come down to those couple of games could be the difference between getting a wild card and winning the division. And that's absolutely possible. And it probably is what's going to happen. But is it worth that extra $40 million to win those extra couple of games and get to and win the division and then not get to a World Series? Then have that money to re-sign Conforto and Lindor with and get to the playoffs as a wild card instead. Think about it.
Of course, or have Trevor Bauer and or Springer, and then still re-sign those guys, which is the expectation that we were when the offseason.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in a perfect
I would think it's a good offseason, not great.
Right. In a perfect world, we would have gotten. In a perfect world, we would have gotten Real Muto, Springer, Lindor, and they
struck out. And
Bauer
and Real Muto. I know they were as much in the can we talked about earlier. Yes, I can. But bottom line is the big three free agents. They struck out on all of them, and it's frustrating, guys. So I understand that they're building, and when they do sign Lindor, because I'm not that crazy, I'm not that pessimistic where they're going to re-sign him. Okay, they're going to give him $300 million for 7 years or whatever it is going to be, and they're going to, those guys, Conforto, they're staying here. They're blue and orange. We don't have to worry about them. Conforto may even be the next captain. The guy is already the union rep and great leader guy. So
sure,
yeah, I definitely think that's coming. It's just like. It's the expectation of I want to be that East Coast Dodgers. And next off season, I hope Uncle Stevie comes with a vengeance, or the trade deadline, like you said, all right, let's go get this guy, kind of thing.
Right. The only thing I worry now, and I'm not going to bring the mood down, but the only thing I worry now, based on what Springer did and what obviously Bauer just did today, is that big name free agents use Uncle Steve to bolster up their payday, and then go to the team that they really want to go to and say, "Hey, I'll come to you if you match this deal," or and all of a sudden we're just getting used left and right for people to get bigger contracts from other teams.
Yeah, but I mean, the Yankees have been used for years, and they found a way to always get their man.
Right.
I mean, Garrett Cole, they got him. I think they got his guy. It was no secret last season the Yankees wanted Garrett Cole, right? But they got his guy. Evan Roberts and Craig Carter, the fan, I try to listen to them sometimes when it takes, and they even said too, CC Sabathia, he was a bit in the bidding war. They got him, so we got to get a guy. So, and as you said too, you're like, we want Springer or Bauer. Okay, once Porter's gone, you got to get your guy then. Okay, so
yeah,
this is New York, and Sandy's older, and you're not going to be here that longer. So your legacy is going to be a guy who drafted some good players, but couldn't get it done. You know, you just didn't get it done, and I don't want it to be that legacy, but right now I'm feeling I just still have that feeling that way, and I wish him the best, and you know, I still have that vision of him trading for Carlos Gomez instead of getting like Cespedes because like some stupid like war stat or who the hell knows, and it's just like, come on, man, like he scares me. That Moneyball Sandy still scares me, guys.
Well, let's hope that Carlos Gomez and clearly, you know, the cards were in our favor with him failing that physical, but let's hope that was more of a Wilpon thing and money than it was an actual Sandy move. You know,
probably.
You would say something.
Well, I was going to say, you know, all of these moves are only ultimately going to be decided by how they pan out, right?
Yeah.
It's the old axiom: if the move works, if it works out, then it's a genius move. If it doesn't work out, then it's a mistake. If Bauer goes out and goes, you know, 8-18 this season, and you know, kind of falls off the cliff,
right, then
we're going to go, whew, we dodged that bullet. So it doesn't seem like it's probably not going to do that, but you know, you kind of have to roll with those punches and you sort of reassess where you were.
Exactly.
I don't think that's going to happen. He's in a great situation, obviously, in Los Angeles, but
so let's call the schedule. I believe August 13th. I mean, based on the projected rotation of the Dodgers, that week, August 13th, that week, the Dodgers visit Citi Field, and so hopefully by then they have fans in the stands. And I'm not saying it's full Chase Utley, but it has potential. That game has potential to be a lot of fun to circle on your calendars if fans are.
Well, let's just hope that since they're in all likelihood will not be, you know, and who knows, maybe there will be actually a DH because they haven't finalized that. It looks like there's not going to be, but if there's not a DH, if you're talking about Brushback, let's hope that Noah is back on the mound and in the game that Trevor Bauer's pitching. So we can pull a Chase Utley and pitch behind him. Hopefully he doesn't get thrown out of the game that day. But that's when
you want your opener,
right?
You want your opener in there for the first couple innings, just till Bauer gets up, and then just bonk him, and then
let's get an opener for 2 or 3 innings, and then all right, sorry, you got to leave the game. Sorry. Oh, that'd be great. All right, before we let you go, and don't go anywhere too, I'm just going to minimize you, and we'll BS with you afterwards for a second. But before we let you go, and Pete and I wrap it up, I got one question for you, completely off topic, but Mets related. Black jerseys, yay or nay?
100% back. 100%. Friday nights, MIB, Mets in black.
Yep. Friday night, Mets black jerseys. There's no reason not to do it. I like that. MIB Mets. I like that.
I love when he did like the Military Mondays. I like when they have a tradition like that. Like sure. To me, I'd rather them do that than like randomly like, okay, this is gonna be our jersey this year and have some stupid like swish, like the early '90s. To me, that was when I was a kid, and they had that stupid like the Rico Bronier style like Mets. Like I'd rather them change it like once a week than like just completely change something stupid on the logo.
Sure.
You know?
Right,
I wouldn't mind seeing an occasional orange jersey. I thought those Los Mets jerseys were pretty sweet when they
fire, man. Those are amazing.
Yeah. So,
have fun with it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
Why not? Absolutely. Why the hell not? I mean, there's what Bauer was just on the Reds. The Reds have 30 different uniforms.
Who cares?
Who cares? Who cares? The more the merrier. And I love people that say, the black's not a Mets color. It's blue and orange, blue and orange, blue and orange. All right, well, that means so we can have white on it either, because white's not a Mets color. It's blue and orange.
I guarantee you, if they brought back the Mercury Mets jersey once a year, people will go nuts, bananas selling. It's like the Masters. When people buy all that stuff you only can buy at the Masters, the Mets brought back like Mercury Mets for the gift shop for a day.
Sure.
People go nuts.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about marketing anyway. He wants to sell things. He wants to make money or whatever.
Right.
You put 4 different brand new uniforms. You put the black jerseys back. You put the Los Mets orange ones back. You put the Mercury Mets ones back. You put the you bring back the Military Mondays. And you have a different uniform every day of the week. People are going to buy them. Look at my name. I'm Jersey Johnny. You know I'm Jersey Johnny other than the fact that I live in New Jersey? Because I have a ton of jerseys in the closet. Awesome. You don't think I'm going to go buy it? Of course I am.
Well, I got a ton of patches. So if they make a new patch, I got to get it too. I totally agree. Anytime, there's a new patch, got to get it. Even if I can't find a spot on it in this one, I'm in the process of making another jacket.
Another jacket.
And, so I have some that I have to retire or frame because it's like really rare, and I can't even put it on here. Totally agree. Yeah,
absolutely. So I have a lot of jerseys. You have a lot of patches, and Pete has a lot of radios. So.
Hey, radio.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm looking around trying to figure out what the hell I have a lot of that's Mets related. Nothing. I got a couple of pen holders.
There you go.
I got the Mike Piazza pen holder and another one. So there you go. I got two.
You got two.
Sounds like a great giveaway.
There you go. There you go. Perfect. We can do that. We're gonna
exactly what it was.
We're gonna the log room. We're gonna have log room caps with the Mets insignia on the side. We'll give them away on some Mets Corner shows that we do. All right, hang out for a minute. Don't disconnect yet. We'll get back to you in a second.
Thanks,
sign off. Thanks for coming on, and that was really cool. We're definitely going to, once the season gets rolling, we're going to do more Mets Corner, so you can pop back on whenever we have something interesting to talk about. It'd be cool. Awesome, man. I just want to tell my audience, Patchman Phil on Instagram and Twitter. Give me a follow. I appreciate it. And LFGM, and shoot me a DM or message me, and I'll see you at the Citi Field. I'm always there. You got it. All right. Sit tight. We'll get back to you in a second, and and again, thanks for coming on. Yeah, sounds good. Thanks. All right, you got it. All right. So, in wrapping up,
there we go. Just a little quick Mets corner.
Little quick Mets corner for you. Little quick 20-minute, 60-minute Mets corner for you.
20, 25 minutes tops. That's all we need.
But we covered a lot of ground. We talked. Look at it this way. We talked today about the Mets almost as long as we talk about the Jets and the Giants on a Wednesday.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to say anything about them on Wednesday. We've covered it all here.
We covered it all, yeah.
Unless Harry's got some insights.
Harry might have some insights. We might have to ask him. If not, we'll just refer everybody to this actual podcast. And then we can talk more about basketball at that point.
Yeah, there you go.
Anybody that is listening to this one, we're going to be doing a special Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl insanity, break up the monotony, so to speak, podcast, Facebook Live and YouTube channel live at noon on Sunday. Watch for the post.
Noon Eastern.
Noon Eastern, that is. Noon Eastern, 10 o'clock Mountain Time, where Harry Lugnuts resides. That should be interesting and a little fun. We'll have a little fun with that. So you break up your monotony while you got your chili cooking. And I know while my chili's going to be cooking, I'll be doing it. So you make a chili on Sunday, Pete?
I think not. Actually, I was looking at some sort of a chicken stew kind of a dip.
Really?
Recipe that I came across that I might try. It's a crock pot thing. I've done something. So I did a buffalo chicken dip in the crock pot a couple of times. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It works pretty good. It's cream cheese in it and everything else is nice.
I'm also thinking about buffalo fried buffalo deviled eggs.
Fried buffalo deviled eggs.
Yeah, I have a recipe for that.
That sounds interesting.
It's a lot of work, but I might try it.
I might. We're doing wings, and I'm making two chilies. I'm making my red chili and my green chili. So,
right.
So I'll have them going while we're doing our Super Bowl insanity.
So there we go. So yeah, break up your day, because how much pregame do you really need to watch?
How much pregame? You watch a little bit in the morning, break it up with us, and then go back to it when the actual broadcast starts. After having some fun with the three of us on Sunday. So
there you go.
But wrapping it up today, hey, you know what? Like I said when Phil was still on with us, I think the Mets are heading in the right direction. I think the bottom line, and I'm going to be posting something because I started writing it before, and I'll finish writing it, so it'll be on the website and on Facebook tonight, either tonight or tomorrow. I think the Mets did dodge a bullet with Bauer. It would have been a great addition.
Sure, you say that now.
Oh, no, I do. And I said it before, too. I said it in the last week's podcast. I think that their money's better spent in other places. The difference in the games that they could have gotten with him aren't going to make that big of a difference, other than if it was the difference between winning the division and getting a wild card. And
when he goes 22-5 and the Mets come up a game short, you'll be singing a different tune.
He goes 22-5 and the Mets come up a game short. Well, then I'm going to say, yeah, well, that's typical for the Mets, But I honestly believe it's not going to be the case. I don't think he's going to go 5-22, but I don't think he's going to go 22-5 either. And I think the Mets are going to be just fine without him, especially if they sign Jake Odorizzi, as you pointed out before, has virtually
the same guy,
very similar numbers. career-wise, not last year. Clearly last year
career-wise.
Bauer was supreme over a lot of people, including DeGrom even. But and a lot of that was offense, but that's besides the point.
Okay.
And not even offense, just relief, I should say. But in any event, it was offense.
Like I said, I'm not holding my breath, but I'm hopeful.
I'm not holding my breath either, but I'm more hopeful than I am most years. So we'll we'll have to figure that out. We'll see how it goes. We'll play it by ear, and you know what? Well, like I said before when Phil was on, once spring training starts, we're probably going to be doing every other week. We'll do a Mets Corner, and then during the season, it might even get weekly. We'll see.
Twice a day, maybe.
Twice a day, even, because there's always some stuff to talk about. So
yeah,
but
sure.
we'll figure that out. But yeah, pay attention. Keep your eyes on the posts for when we do these, and of course our podcast every week on Wednesdays is on Facebook Live and on YouTube, and we go live every Wednesday at 7:30 now with those. And remember to like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All are at The Locker Room. And, of course, our website, don't forget to visit it, www.loggerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. All of our podcasts are on there. All of our blogs, our articles are on there. Some other interesting, cool stuff is on there. You can read our bios. They're pretty funny. And, again, if you haven't done so already, if you want to just listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great weekend. Don't worry about the Mets. They're heading in the right direction. I personally believe we dodged a bullet. But we'll talk more Mets next Wednesday on the podcast. For now, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Make sure you tune in at noon for our Super Bowl Insanity show.
Noon on Sunday. Noon on Sunday.
It'll be a great show. We'll have a lot of fun, and we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.